Hey there, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a tour of my trailer. We've done a lot of talking about trucks in the last few months, and I've shown you around all the different rentals I've had and walked you through my new truck and all that good stuff. And I realized I'd never really shown off my trailer and all the different aspects of it. So I decided to make this video where I'm just going to walk you through the basics and kind of give you an outline of what the average fuel tanker trailer looks like. I say average. I don't know what I'm holding that up against, but I'll show you what our average fuel tanker trailer looks like in my area. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the video. I hope you enjoy. If you do, remember to like and subscribe. Let's get right into it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start this tour right on the passenger side of my trailer because this is where the majority of the work happens. So this is what we call our manifold. This is the loading heads and delivery heads for all the compartments on our trailers. Now, our trailers have 5 compartments, which is why you'll see 5 loading heads here. And the majority of the trailers that I see around here all have 5 compartments, but I don't know if that differs in some places. But most of the trucks I see have 5 compartments. So they're all different size compartments. We've got our biggest in the front, we've got our 2 smallest in the middle, and then we have 2 larger ones in the back as well. So not all trucks have this manifold section right here, or not all trailers I should say. We have these that connect all of our 5 compartments so that we can deliver more than one pocket at a time. But a lot of companies no longer have those, and this whole section just doesn't exist. It's just a straight pipe out of each of the 5 compartments because it is less likely to cross-contaminate or anything like that. But it's also slower delivery, and there are some other downsides to not having those manifolds. But this is the way ours is set up. So we have our 5 compartments, and then they're all cross-connected, and then these are all valves that open and close. There's internal valves on each of the 5 compartments that are run by air that open and close, but these are secondary valves which can close off those compartments as well, just as a secondary measure, because there is a chance of those internals, leaking past or having something malfunction, and so there's a secondary valve there to shut them manually as well, which is good because either the internals or these can eventually start to break, and before you take a little bit before you realize it, and so you have a secondary measure of keeping everything contained well. So that's the basic layout of our manifolds. We have these right here for each, so we can mark what is in every tank to help us keep from getting confused or forgetful or risking, it's just a great visual representation so that when we're dropping and when we're delivering fuel, these are all color coordinated to match the lids on the ground, so we can match the red label for premium with the red lid on the tank to kind of be a quick visual to make sure that we are putting the right product in the right tank, kind of thing. So we have those and our manifold, and then these are our loading heads. You take the whole cap off to load at the terminal, and then these little caps are what we take off to hook a delivery hose on when we're delivering. And I'm sure you've seen that in some of my previous videos. If not, you can go back and watch some of my delivery videos and you'll see how those hoses hook onto those smaller ones. This is just our load bar, which is an extra measure of security on the trailer. It will not allow you to release your brakes with the load bar up, just as a safety precaution in case you ever forget a lid open or a hose connected or anything like that. Like, it won't let anybody move the vehicle while the load bar is up, so that if there's a delivery in process, the brakes will not release, just as a safety precaution. So there's that. And then we have our cones right here on my trailer. All the different trailers have those in a slightly different place, but we all have, a cone holder, somewhere on the trailer. So that's the manifold. And then this and this one up here as well. These are 2 of our vapor recovery connections. We've got one there, we've got one here, and then we also have one on the very back of our trailer, as well as one on the other side for the occasional driver's side offload, which is very rare, but there is an offload head and a vapor head over there in case you're at a place where you just can't get parked in a manner to offload on this side. You'll see right here on the back of the number 5 pocket, if we kneel down, you can see that this pipe goes all the way through to the other side. So that if you're ever in a situation where you just can't park and offload on the passenger side, you can use these manifold valves to make any one of these 5 pockets go out through that line right there and offload on the other side. And there's a vapor over on that side as well. We'll go over and show you afterwards. So that's all of our vapor connections. You can use any which one of them, they're all connected. So it's just kind of a matter of however the parking lot is laid out, which one you choose to hook your vapor hose to. But that is used to recover all the vapor from the tanks that we're delivering into. So as the gas is running out of the manifold, the vapor is being pushed back up into the trailer through this and taking up the space where the gas was. So we're recovering all the vapor, and then we bring that to the loading rack with us, and we hook a vapor line onto this at the loading rack. And as we're feeding gas or whatever back up into the trailer, then it's forcing the vapor back out and into the vapor recovery system at the terminals. And then they take care of it from there, and that's how we keep vapors from being released up into the atmosphere. That's a super simple way of explaining it, but you get the gist. So there's that. Those are our vapor ports. And then if you go to the back of our manifold, you'll see this valve right here and this line going out the back of our manifold, and that comes right over here into our side pocket. And this is where we have all of our fittings. But if I just take this one fitting out so you can see, that goes right into the back side of this meter, which is used when we occasionally have to split a pocket between 2 stores, whether it's because we just didn't have enough compartments to divide everything up and we have to meter, or occasionally when product doesn't fit at a location, we'll meter off what does fit and then bring the rest to a different location and drop the other portion of that pocket. So this is how we count gallons whenever we need to do that, to make sure that we know how much we actually delivered at each place. So you hook your hose on right here rather than onto the manifold, and you send it down through the meter to unload, and this counts it all. So there's that, and this is also where we keep all of our fittings. So yeah, that's that side box in a nutshell. And then we have one of our placards right here. We have one placard on each of the 4 sides of the trailer to make sure that if there's ever an emergency situation, you can see from a distance what you're dealing with. So that right now is at 1203, which is for our gasoline. And when we do occasionally carry multiple products, you placard for the most dangerous, basically. So if there's any gasoline on the trailer, we have it placarded for gasoline. But occasionally we have a full load of diesel or heating oil, then we'll change that to that number. Or if you have a load that is 3 pockets of diesel and 1 pocket of kerosene, kerosene is technically what is more dangerous in that situation. You placard for the kerosene. So quick rundown of that. Then we also have this little side pocket here, which has our grounding hookup for when we're loading, as well as our internal valves for each of the 5 compartments. As I was telling you earlier, these are air-operated internal valves that open and close those compartments. And then we have our air gauge for how much air is in the trailer. And like I said, our grounding hookup for grounding the trailer when we're loading at the terminal. And then in this compartment over here, got this little box, which is just our little hose fittings, our pry bars, our caps for our hoses, and our absorbent pads, and just random stuff like that. So those are our side boxes on this side. And then we have a hose tube up front here, which is our vapor recovery hose, which is a 3-inch hose. Oops, sorry for the loud noise. That's a 3-inch hose, and I'm showing you that just so I can come over here to this hose tube, which has our 2 delivery hoses, which are both 4-inch. So we have 2 delivery hoses that are 4 inches around, and then the vapor is 3-inch. You can see the difference in size there. So our different trailers have slightly different hose setups as well. One of our trailers has 3 delivery hoses, and one of them is a different length, which just gives you more versatility that way. but that's what is on my trailer. So yeah, we have that, and then our 2 little spotlights, and that's pretty much everything on this side of the trailer. That's how that all works in a really rough nutshell. The only other thing would be this right here. I did forget to mention this. At the front of the manifold, you'll see this valve, which unscrews, and this line that goes up towards the front of the trailer. It runs behind our hose tube, kind of hard to see there, but it runs behind that all the way up to the front of the trailer. And that comes out right here at the front, and this is how we get fuel from the trailer to the pump on the back of our trailer, on the back of our truck rather, when we have a pump off delivery. So this hose right here is attached to our truck whenever we're just driving or doing gravity fed deliveries, but when we get to a pump off, we unhook it from that stand right there and we hook it on here, and it pulls the fuel into the pump, and then depending on which side we're delivering on, we hook our delivery hose to either side of the pump, and it pumps it from the truck into whatever tank we are pumping into. So that's what that line does. That brings it up to the front to be pumped off. And we also have our ladder on the front of the trailer for the occasional need to get up on the catwalk. Don't have a whole lot of need to get up there super often, but that is where the bulkheads for each of our 5 compartments are. So you do occasionally have to get up there when you've got a sensor issue or when you need to actually get into the tanks, which I have not had to do very many times. But if you ever have a really weird scenario where you can't tell for sure if your compartment has been emptied fully, it's always better to check than to start loading and risk contaminating because there's something left on the trailer. So I have had to get up there and get into the bulkheads just to verify that the trailer was empty a few times, but I think I've done it twice that way because it's only in a rare case where something didn't quite work right and you just need to verify that the trailer's empty. So there's that. I think that's pretty much everything on this side. We have a tri-axle trailer, so this axle right here actually lifts and lowers. So when you're loaded, you put it down for the extra weight, and when you're empty, you lift it because you don't need it when the trailer is that light. So yeah, we've got that tri-axle set up right there. It's lifted and lowered by airbags, and there's just a switch in the cab that lifts and lowers that, so that's pretty basic. And then this is the back of our trailer. This is the other vapor I was telling you about from the front that comes back through here and connects into the lines. Otherwise, we just have our big bumper, our placard, our lights. We do have another hose tube over on this side, which I'll show you in a minute. And then the only other thing back here is that we have this little like toolbox that unhooks here and here as a means of storage, which we don't have anything in there right now. And then it has all of the wiring for mechanics to be able to get access to a bunch of stuff in there. So some of our guys use that section for, see if I can get this thing closed. Geesh. Some of our other trailers use that for different things, but ours doesn't currently have any storage. It just has that access in it, like I said. And then there's our big. This is our other hose tube. This one opens from the front or the back. And this simply has our pump off hose. So when we do pump off the front of the trailer, we use this hose right here. Can you see it? That's a 3-inch hose. So we pump off with a 3-inch. We don't pump off with 4-inch, which is pretty standard for any pump off tanks that we deliver to. I think that's standard all the way around. And then this is a secondary vapor hose because our other vapor on the other side is short. I want to say 10 feet, and then this one's 20 feet, something like that roughly. So we have our longer vapor hose here for the occasional place where you can't reach with the short hose, and our pump off hose for when we do our pump off jobs. So that's that. And then otherwise on this side, there's not a whole lot going on. We've got our 3 axles with our lift axle, and we have a couple of side boxes. And we have this, which is where that driver's side offload comes through. So if you ever are in a parking lot where you can't park in a way to offload through the driver's side, you can manifold your product down to this offload head and offload there, and then this would be your vapor hookup for that scenario. It's the only vapor hookup on this side, so it's a little less versatile that way, but 98% of the time you're going to offload with the passenger side anyways. I very, very rarely use this, but it is good to have. So otherwise, we have our placard and a storage box that just has extra absorbent pads, a snow shovel, and random odds and ends like that we don't need very often, but it's always good to have. We have our fire extinguisher in this box, and then in this box we have all the random things you might need for our truck. We have a ton of extra fittings. We've got some antifreeze, we've got some window washer fluid, and random things along those lines, just in case anything ever goes wrong while you're on the road. You have extra of those things. And that's pretty much all the exciting stuff on this side. This little box right here is the way to manually raise and lower. This switch right here will manually raise and lower our lift axle. We have a switch in the cab, like I mentioned earlier, that does it, but that is how you manually do it. And if you're hooked to a spare truck that doesn't have that switch connection in the truck, you can use this and lift and lower it yourself. So there's that, and then we have our landing gear over on this side, and that's pretty much the only other thing I think that's different. So yeah, all the way back to the front, we got our placard over on this side. You'll see all 4 of our placards did match, and I think I pretty much covered everything. So I hope you all enjoyed that tour. I hope you learned something. If you guys have any more questions you want to ask about how our trailers are laid out or how they work or anything like that, drop them in the comments below. And I think that's going to wrap up today's video. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe. Drop me a comment, let me know what you thought, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.